Good morning. So the big news otherwise is that there was an attack last night on the in Crimea or on Crimea from the Ukrainians. They've been continuing with their kind of low scale terrorist drone attack vibe, and the Crimean Bridge, the Kerch Bridge, was shut for a while last night while they sorted things out. There were a number of explosions near the bridge, but nothing actually on the bridge. But obviously, everyone was pretty freaked out throughout this. What it looks like's happened to me is that the Ukrainians have attempted a similar method of damaging the bridge, this time much earlier when there would be more pedestrians on it, civilians on it, should I say, and that either air defence or water defence or whatever sort of defence that the Russians have put in place has worked and prevented that attack. Now, there was a large scale attack yesterday on a kind of floating grain holding, and this is grain that is being shipped down and up a canalway between Ukraine and Crimea. But I wanted to bring your attention to this, the Danube River, and this is a request from Romania to the EU to show solidarity with Romania because the Ukrainian government had increased the depth of this channel on the Danube that they've been using by ripping out the bottom of the water, which has caused some ecological damage to the Danube. But also, it's a big issue with Romania because Romania has previously been used as a place where, Hitler's Nazis then was getting weaponry into that area of Ukraine to fight the then Soviet Red Army. So they really, really, really don't want that to be happening again. And it is. That's the reality. The Ukrainians can no longer get the weapons and equipment that they've been smuggling in via the Black Sea ports, and so they are using this port on the river, and they have extended the depth of this river in order to carry more load. The Russians have destroyed some storage facilities that have been floating on this river, and the Ukrainians have said this is all grain, as they always do, don't they? Like they did in Odessa, it's nothing but grain. And then I'm sure we'll get pictures and there'll be absolutely no grain there and lots of burnt out trucks and vehicles and other bits of military equipment. But anyway, things are getting tense between Romania and the EU because the EU is not defending Romania's right to not have its territory once again turned into a place where Russia can be attacked, which last time it happened was grave for Romania because obviously the Nazis lost against the Red Army and Romania then became under the Warsaw Pact. I don't believe, I might be wrong, but I don't believe the Romanians have gone so deep and hard like the Polish into the whole, nothing the Soviets ever did was good. We're the innocent victims in all of this. I think they're a bit more measured about things than that. But still, the last thing they want is for their country to become the place where arms are smuggled in. And that is what is happening. So the Ukrainians haven't been able to keep weaponry in Romania because obviously Romanians are not comfortable with that. So they're keeping them in situ on this canal. And the Russians have attacked them. This is a look at global manufacturing activity, and as you can see, there has been a gross contraction in manufacturing in EU countries. The Eurozone, Germany, France, all contracting. We also know that there's been contractions in Poland and as you can see here, the UK as well. The US less so, but still. Japan, Australia, all of these countries have something in common, and that is that they have all gone along with this attack on Russia and are essentially sanctioning themselves out of goods and materials that they require. Most interestingly, I think, is Australia. A sharp change in Australian manufacturing, as they set themselves up to be the American base of the Asia Pacific War. This is relating to the EU, who have had a big song and dance about the fact that Niger has banned France 24, which, to be fair, has made some pretty wild commentary about what's going on in Niger. But of course, the EU has banned Russia today, so I'm not really sure why people can't see the hypocrisy that they are producing here. But if we're going to go around and ban countries and news channels that we think don't fully wholeheartedly agree with us, then you have to expect it from the other side. Scientists have found a bacteria that suppresses malaria transmission. Excellent news. I hope it's very successful. Malaria is an awful, awful disease. Polish farmers have exerted significant pressure on the US Secretary of State about the grain that they are being expected to be exported through Poland. They are flat out refusing to do so. The US has a real problem because they need to find a way to get grain out of Ukraine, and they can't. They can't use Romania, they can't use the Black Sea, and they cannot use Poland or the countries that are aligning Ukraine. Their best bet was Poland. I'm sure they will find a country willing to do this, but their best bet was Poland, because Poland is the most subservient to the United States, but it has not been successful. Russia, on the other hand, is set to be the top wheat exporter this season for many years running. And breaking. This has just come in. Apple is falling, causing 160 billion sell-off. This is after a bit of a cat and mouse game where it was discovered that Apple's software could be greatly manipulated in order to support whatever government it felt like supporting. There have been talks in Russia about perhaps banning Apple products, and it's taken a drastic decline from what it's used to earning from various countries and people who don't necessarily want to be watched all the time. We have this in. It was a tanker that was hit in the Black Sea by Ukrainian drones. Fortunately, an oil tanker bound for Syria, from Syria. I can't recall which way. I think it was going to Syria. This is interesting, not just because the kind of cat and mouse game where the Russians said something hadn't been hit and the Ukrainians said something had, and they destroyed a ship and all of this, and as usual, something in the middle is true. So they hit the engine room, no crew were injured, and thankfully the tanker remains intact, because what we do not need is yet more ecological damage, which it seems to me the Ukrainians don't care at all about, and their various partners. The Nord Stream, the Kakhovsky Dam, and now an oil tanker. I mean, what do they want to do? Just kill everything in the ocean? Anyway, there hasn't been an oil spill, thankfully. The tanker can't move independently, but it will be rectified soon. That's about me for today. It's Saturday and we have only one child out of 3 in the house, so we shall be spending some time together and trying to tidy up without it falling apart in 2 minutes. I hope everyone has a lovely day, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Do consider liking and sharing my page, visiting me on YouTube at Diplomacy is Free, or coming and finding us on Telegram, where myself and John Gims will be updating throughout the day various bits of information that we find from around the world. All the best. God bless. Good morning. So the